folks. So, I'm here to review the much hated and trashed and bashed, looked down upon sequel, but not really, more of a reboot, because it's basically the first film, except a bit more interesting, but, I mean, I'm gonna say right now, I'm not a fan of the first one. I thought it was boring. I didn't care for the characters, really. Leatherface is like the only good thing about the first film, really, to me. Granted, there's no gore, so I don't mind it, but it's not one I would say is one of the best horror films of all time. Like, no, nowhere near, to me, in my opinion. But yeah, this one, I do like the second one alright. The third one I don't mind, even though it was tampered with MPAA. This one, for sure, is wacky and off the wall. I mean, Kim Henkel, who I guess wrote the original along with Toby Hooper. He directed and wrote this. It was his directorial debut. I don't know what he was trying to go for. Really don't. Like, he's like, want to keep it in the realm of the original, but do our own thing, kind of. But you technically, like, just copied the first one. Like, you have 4 teenagers. They go off at night from prom, and again, the car wreck. One of them decides to stay back, and then that first one dies in a stupidity way. The other 3, you have a douchebag boyfriend who was kissing another girl, and the girlfriend of the douchebag is mad at him, but then she blames herself for him doing it, I guess, because she won't bang him. Then you have Renee Zellweger. Oh yeah, this film, it stars Renee Zellweger and Matthew McConaughey, which I gotta say, his performance in this is amazing. Like, if anything, it's the best thing in this entire movie, because the character of Leatherface. But yeah, I didn't mind. I reviewed this back years and years ago, and then I, of course, deleted a lot of my old reviews. But I'm gonna re-review pretty much the series. I did a commentary for this, so I'm editing that right now, along with shooting this right now, so I don't know which one will be out first. Probably the review and then the commentary. And that one will have footage in it as well. But as well as I'm gonna try to put footage in this too. But yeah, this whole, I get what people are saying is nothing like the original, but again, I'm not a fan of the original, so I can't really say that I faulted for that, because at least it was trying to do something different. An element of it, like the secret society subplot with this guy, I guess supposed to be the Illuminati, because he's like talking about, we want to make people experience the true nature of horror, or something like that, and that was sort of interesting. And then it, whole cross-dressing of Leatherface, I never minded it, because I thought, okay, I mean, he did that in the first film, I believe, so, I mean, why not carry it over here? But his whole thing of screaming non-stop, whining, he was a juggernaut in the first film, let alone the second a bit. The third film, he was like a straight up, juggernaut, a monster. But here, it's like, nah, we're gonna weaken him a bit, or not even a bit, a lot. Yeah, here's the interview of Robert, whoever. Pretty much, I wanted to go back to the original, and Kim did too. We agreed on that right off, and the first thing was getting him to write the script. I raised the money to get it written, and for us to start trying to put this thing together. This was a low-budget film, though. Henkel stated that he wrote... Sorry about that. He stated that he wrote the characters cartoonishly. No dip, Sherlock. He wrote themes of female empowerment into the script because of Jenny's character. It's her story. It's about her transformation. Her refusal to shut up, to be silenced, to be victimized, and to be oppressed, even by culture. Bringing Jenny into a world in which the culture of grotesquely whatever was a way of bringing her to see her own world more clearly. That is to say, my intent was to present a nightmarish version of Jenny's world in the form of the Chainsaw family in order to enlarge her view of her own world. Okay, but I didn't really care much. I sort of didn't mind her character, though she made somewhat dumb decisions. But, I mean, I sort of get what he was trying to do with her character, but it would have been nice if he tried to do that with Heather's character as well, and not just Jenny. Because, the acting in this isn't bad. From Renee and, Matthew. Also by the lady that plays Darla. If I can get her name. That'd be great. Darla. Tony Perkinski. I think she's a Canadian actress. I think she did theater, I believe. Or one of these people, or a few of these people, I think, did theater. But yeah, pretty much it starts out 4 teenagers, Barry, Heather, Jenny, and Sean, attend their school's prom party. When Heather discovers Barry cheating on her with another girl, she storms out. He goes after her, explaining himself, which there's no explanation for that shit. You just don't do it with a girl like that, and then you decide, oh, she's not giving me none, so I'm gonna go cheat. Alright. Jenny and Sean, who are in the back seat, smoking marijuana. Heather takes a detour off the freeway because, and while distracted, collides with another car. The guy passes out. Sean decides to stay back, while Barry and Heather and Jenny go off in search of help. They They stop at an office trailer where they meet Darla, who, I gotta say, her character was interesting, where she mentions how she left her husband. Don't know why. How she even got mixed up with these people. They never addressed that. Except that there's a line of dialogue where she's like, they put this thing in my head, and if I do something wrong or something, it goes boom or something like that. Pretty much an insurance agent is what she goes off as, who promises to call her boyfriend, a tow truck driver named Vilmer, played by Matthew McConaughey, who is the brother of Leatherface. They leave the office and begin heading back towards where the wreck, only for Heather and Barry to become separated from Jenny in the darkness, because they go chasing off after this truck guy who refuses to stop for them. I love in that scene, I mentioned in the commentary, the truck driver is slowing down, which is funny because they're supposed to be running after him, but they're like so close to him, so it's like they have to literally stop and run slower than what they're usually running. Pretty much, Vilmer shows up in at the scene of the wreck with Sean, killing the passed out guy. He begins chasing Sean in the truck and backing over him. That's a dumb scene where the guy, Sean, who's so stupid, he's like, "Sir, you just saw a guy literally snap a dude's neck and then say he's gonna kill you with a knife. And you're like, sir, what can I do? You're scaring me." It's like, yeah, I want that character to die because how stupid he is. And then, what else? Okay, so then it's Heather and Barry discover a decapitated farm. Oh, I'm sorry. They discover a dirty farmhouse in the woods. There they go there and we do get some character backstory with Heather and her mother, but that doesn't amount to anything except why I guess she puts up with Barry's antics. But yeah, pretty much Barry goes out back while Heather stays on the porch, sits on the porch. And pretty much during that, she feels something in her hair, and it's Leatherface literally sniffing her hair. I guess will he wear her hair? And pretty much, he grabs her, of course, takes her in the house, just like the original. And Barry is held at gunpoint in the back with this guy, W, that's his name, who quotes Shakespeare throughout this movie, which makes no sense of what is going on. I mean, it probably does, but in context, but some stuff it seemed like he was just randomly saying, like just to sound educated. Pretty much, and even the scene where, you know, Leatherface is yanking and shoving or throwing around Heather, it is kind of pretty intense. I'll give that scene something. It is pretty intense. Of course, they steal from the original where he puts her up on a hook, because, yeah. And then, pretty much, Barry goes in, because he's like, I have to pee, and he calls W dummy for letting him in his house, even though it's... And then he doesn't even, like, he acts all, oh, it looks like, I locked him out, Heather, so we're safe, even though I heard you screaming bloody murder. But it's okay. I locked him out. And then he goes to go pee, and then he sees dead bodies, and then he runs out, and he's like, Heather! And then he turns around, and Leatherface hits him with a sledgehammer. No blood, because, yeah. And he just kicks him non-stop, and then screams, and then runs off, all frantic, and then screams, and then cries, and then puts her up on a hook. And then screams, and then runs, and then we go back to Jenny, who is whispering to nobody. She goes to the scene of the wreck, but she meets Vilmer on the way there, and he's acting all weird, but she's like, okay, I'll get in. And pretty much Vilmer starts talking about how some guy back in the day, I guess, killed some young girl, but he's like, how simple can you get? With, I guess, because the way to... pretty much, Vilmer threatens her before showing her bodies of Sean and the car guy that they crashed into. Jenny jumps out of the truck and runs into some nearby woods, who is soon attacked by Leatherface, which I'm like, I wonder how long Leatherface was around to stay, you know, in the woods. I wonder how that went, how that was planned out. Worked out pretty well. She seeks refuge from Darla, and then pretty much W comes in, beats her with a cattle prod, which is a stupid scene. And then he puts her in Darla's trunk. She goes to get pizza. She literally allows she invites this pizza guy at the counter to see what she has in the back because he hears something in the trunk. And she's like, "You want to see?" And he's like, "Sure." And then he's like, "Oh, I shouldn't. I might get fired." Even though you hear, I swear, he sounded like, okay. But then she was like, "All right." Then she's talking to her and puts a hole through the bag, and then one cop comes up behind her and is like, "Hey, what's going on here?" And then she closes the trunk, and then they just let her go, even though I'm pretty sure if all they gotta do is suspect that she has drugs or something, we want to check your vehicle. But nope, they just let her go. And then it's funny, while she's driving, they drive alongside her, and then they just drive off away. I'm like, wow. They just let a murderer get away. Although this Darla character, she's not really much of a murderer. I mean, she's just as bad as the rest of them, because she's not really... She's in on it, but she's not, like, blood crazy or anything. Like, not murder crazy. But she is psycho. And this is where she gets to the house. Leatherface getting also tased by a cattle prod by W. In a grandma attire and mask that looks so fake. It's like so easy to put the slide over, or they either just like glued over the guy's face or whatever. Like it's not scary really at all. But then what else? Okay, so Vilmer pretty much torments Jenny for a minute, and she's able to escape, even though she left Heather. She tries to help Heather, but not really, because Heather just decides to lay her head down back on the ground. Matthew McConaughey in this scene is off the wall, because he goes crazy. And he literally tries to crush his girlfriend's throat, Darla. And then later on they decide to bang with pizza. In a rough, animalistic way. Pretty much, Jenny runs out, she gets in the car, drives off, but then the hood comes up, so she's like, "Oh!" and then falls, because Vilmer grabs her. Then she awakes at the dinner table, and that's when you get the infamous, "Welcome to my world." And then he goes off, and, but yeah, pretty much, she awakens at the dinner table, surrounded by the family. These other people that are, like, pale and, I guess, dead, they have, like, weird, it's like they have mannequins of people in their house. But then the grandpa looks like he's one of them, but then he's alive as well, because then he gets up and leaves. Which I'm like, what's that all about? So yeah, this scene that happens where, she's she's taking her power back because Vilmer's, taunting her and hitting on her and all that, and she's like, "Don't touch me, don't ever touch me." Pretty much referencing her stepfather who abuses her. So she's trying to, she's not going to take it from this guy who torments her. But then, and that's all well and good. I'm all up for female empowerment. But then the fact that she literally, a few seconds later after that, as soon as she's like, "I'm going to leave, and no one is going to stop me." And then when she says that, as soon as she says that, Leatherface, I'm going to show the scene in this review. I'm going to show it right now.
No. I'm going to leave, and no one is going to stop me. You sit the fuck down. Shut up.
So yeah, that's what happened. She tells Leatherface to sit, not even just to sit down and shut up. No, she has to cuss at him. She literally says, sit the F down and then and shut up. And he whines as he sits down. A 7-foot juggernaut like him is whipped. Alright. And then, I forget what else happens. Heather pretty much dies because she gets lit on fire, and, head crushed as well, and then, but before that, the Secret Society man, belly button ring man, who looks like he has a fake stomach, pretty much a vest, because he has to have rings around it, I guess, I don't know. I'm like, where's Sonic at, so he can grab all these rings? But yeah, a man named Rothman shows up, reprimanding Vilmer for his methods, before revealing a tray of scars and piercings on his torso, licking Jenny's face, which I'm like, why? And he's like, we need to have people experience the thrill of horror, or the real horror, or something. I forget how he even worded it. But pretty much, after that, then the guy leaves, and then that's when Vilmer kills Heather, crushing her skull. She had like the worst death ever because she got burned. No, she got hooked. She got put up on a meat hook. And then she got beat by a stick a little bit by Darla, who looked like she was... she's not really in on this whole killing people. But I'll just participate a little bit, but that's it. But then, but yeah, Heather had like the worst death out of everybody because she got meat hooked, got burned in the back, and then got her head caved in. And then Vilmer and Jenny have a remote control battle where, she has to control his leg while he's trying to get Leatherface to kill her. And then it's funny because Darla's like just sitting on the chair, not doing anything. Like the camera's trying to focus more on Vilmer and Renee Zellweger, but yet it's half that scene. But then it's like Darla's like right on the right or left scene, or left side of the scene, and she's not doing anything to like help anybody. But I guess just freaking out, I guess, or laughing, but because it looked like she was shaking or something, or convulsing or something. I don't know. But pretty much after that, I did like the line, "My brother here is tired of what's-his-name's face, and he wants a new one." Like, some of the line delivery I thought was very good by Matthew McConaughey. Jenny reaches a dirt road where she is rescued by an elderly couple. Then they die because the RV gets tipped over somehow. Jenny emerges from the vehicle unscathed and continues running, with Leatherface and Vilmer in hot pursuit, and then a plane randomly swoops in and kills Vilmer. And I'm like, wow. Anticlimactic much, because then Leatherface just screams in anguish while Jenny looks on, and a limousine pulls up, and Jenny jumps into the back seat, where she is met with the belly button ring man, triple ring man, pretty much. He offers to take her to a police station or to a hospital. And so she gets dropped off at a hospital, where she speaks to an officer, who then Sally being... So I guess this does take place in the same universe as the first film, because in the prologue it's like two minor instances happen referencing the second and third, I guess. But then it's weird. Like this one, like they don't. This franchise is very weird with its continuity, like what they want to keep and what they don't reference, what they do reference. Like Stretch being in the third one as a reporter, even though she's not really, she doesn't say anything, but it's just there. So yeah, overall, it ends where she sees so-and-so, what's her name? Merlin, what's that lady's name from the first film? Merlin Burns is, okay. So yeah, I guess her character pretty much went crazy, and from the first film, because I swear there's dialogue in the second film where Lefty's like saying how she went catatonic or something, I think. So that's why. So I guess I can explain why she would be in the hospital as an elderly lady. But yeah, that was. So do I recommend this one if you're a fan of the series? I would say if you can separate this from the other 3 movies, aside from the prologue stating otherwise, whatever. Even the prologue doesn't care. But I would say give it a chance. There's no gore in it, but it's, again, off the wall. It's black comedy, kinda, but I didn't really laugh except at Matthew McConaughey's performance, because it is amazing. Again, the character of Leatherface, I'm fine with him in spots where he's like frantic and screaming a little bit, but then at the end where he's just on and on, screaming and whining, and then the fact that she tells him to sit down, and not even just sit down, again, just cusses and shut up. It's like, no, that's not Leatherface. They wanted to explore his feminine side, I guess, is what Kim Henkel was trying to explore, even though he didn't do a whole lot with that. Because he wears faces, and he's confused about his sexuality. And so, it's beautiful and complex and horrifying at the same time. No, it's not. Leatherface's presentation in the film to that, some guy, a film scholar, noted Leatherface's presentation in the film of a tortured drag queen. But he's not a... I mean, he is, but... And then there's a director's cut, which I have, but it's not... It's only 7 minutes longer than the final release version. All it is just... some stuff at the beginning with Jenny and her stepfather. But yeah, and then also I guess there's usage of different music, because the version I saw on demand when I first saw this, it didn't have I don't even think half of these scenes had music in them, or they had different type of music if they did. But yeah, overall it's pretty much it's not really interesting, aside from maybe Matthew McConaughey's performance. Leatherface, I already said. The directing, the writing, whatever. The rewatchability. I barely watched this, but yeah. So if you like this film, that's very cool, because I actually do kind of like the film, aside from issues I have. I wish there was more likable characters and better usage of some characters. or exploring some other characters' backstories, like how Darla got involved with Vilmer and Leather. I would have liked if they showed some scene, or maybe 2 or 3 scenes with Leatherface and Vilmer, because they're brothers and they don't really say much to each other. They don't say anything to each other. I mean, granted, Leatherface can't talk, but I would like some scene or 2 with them together, or Darla with Vilmer and Leatherface, or something. Instead, scenes with all of them and Leatherface is like just either cowering in the corner, crying or whining while stuff is going on, or hiding off screen. But yeah, thanks for watching. Take care and peace and love. Please give it a like, thumbs up, subscribe.